Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
O'clock. Good morning. Cold intro to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Go check them out. Only available in Leduc. It might be what you need right now with all that's going on in the Oiler world. Something to soothe your soul. Delicious Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, and Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studio just after 11 o'clock. June 10th, Wednesday. Midway through the week. We appreciate you joining us on the program. However you are doing so, whether it be on the AM dial, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch, or listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Radio Player Canada, or even the player up at sports1440.com. However you do it, thank you for joining us. You can always join the conversation as well, 1-833-401-1440, or email us, Connor at sports1440.ca, Brandon at sports1440.ca, and Josh at sports1440.ca. Today on the show, talk a little hockey. The Vegas Golden Knights evening things up in Vegas last night with the win. Jordan Staal, heck of an effort. That's why you never give up on a play. They get a huge win. That series shifts back to rally in the association. Big one as the Knicks and Spurs going at it. Huge game potentially for the Spurs to get back into this one and then head home with home court advantage. New York comes in as slight favorites, 2.5 points. Now it gets going at 6:30 tonight. You've also got Blue Jays baseball. The Jays up against the Phillies once again. Nice little win last night. Walk-off. Love that. And Riverhawks in action taking on Victoria. Now, Duke, it says 11 o'clock. That is the kind of like a hockey hooky day.
It's school spirit mascot mania day. So I think they'll probably wrangle up a few of the other local mascots from around the city, maybe even Punter and
Hunter?
Hunter and Punter.
Hunter and Punter?
Hunter and Punter. Do the Elks still have the second mascot?
Nanook?
The polar bear?
I think so.
Is that who he is, right? The bee from the Stingers. I don't know. Buzz? Is that his name? That's a guess. Seems logical. And they'll have all those down there. And yeah, I have to think tons of like schools from across the city and maybe even slightly beyond are all congregating downtown Edmonton by the busload to take in a little day baseball. It's not, I mean, you got here more recently than I did, Connor. It was a little gray and gloomy with some expected rain here starting around, well, right now, as a matter of fact. But what was the weather like when you came in? Decent enough to enjoy a baseball game?
Well, I just want to give a quick shout out to Louis for the Oil Kings, and then also
Louis, of course,
River and Kid for the Riverhawks.
Well, of course they're going to be there.
They're going to be running the show. Maybe the team captains. Woke up this morning. Me and Benny went for a little walk around the community, went to the swings, and yes, it did start to rain, just lightly though, and that was at about like 9:40. So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. You know?
It was raining a little bit when we first got to the ballpark last night. It dissipated quite quickly. Ended up as a nice night.
You know, hey, kids are resilient. They'll bounce back. They're not made of sugar. They're good to go. Let's talk about the game last night. Unfortunately, the Riverhawks fall, but you and Josh down there sampling some of the cuisine of the ballpark. How did it all go?
It was really fun. Yeah, shout out to the Riverhawks for kind of hosting us, if you will, setting us up with some passes. We got great seats for the game, kind of right behind home plate. Up in the second tier, I suppose you would call it, of seating. Mackenzie McLennan coordinating it all, our former intern and kind of social media person here at the station now. It was a lot of fun. The game was great. Riverhawks offense a little lackluster at times. We saw a home run. Great. It was for Victoria, but it's always kind of fun to see one get out of the park, especially at a park as big as Remax. Deep left field fly ball. Wasn't Nick Castellanos, but good all the same. And then the food. That's kind of what we were there for, to sample some of the new menu items that the team has at the park for this summer. We started with toonie dogs. Nothing new there, but you got to warm up the appetite, the palate. So that was excellent. Nachos in the baseball helmet, which we have here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. I was wearing it during portions of the Kevin Carey show this morning.
Well, that's a big helmet.
There was a lot of nachos in this, man. And all three of us, I didn't think we were going to get through it, but heroically, Josh Fenwick managed to finish them off for us.
Yeah, boy.
And a Oreo churro dog. So a pseudo hot dog type thing inside a like baguette, like French dessert bread. Oreo churro, whipped cream, sprinkles, sauce, crumbled Oreos, the whole shebang. So like rich. You know this, Connor. I have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
It really hit the spot for me. So that was fun. Also finished off very strongly by Josh Fenwick. And then the dirty soda. Coconut flavored, Diet Coke, cream, some lime juice. I love coconut. So that was right up my alley as well. And that's what we washed it all down with there. Awesome night. Everything I think earned its 10 out of 10. Except maybe the crafted soda. I think it gave it 5 out of 7. Best soda ever. And for those that get the reference, they'll appreciate it. Otherwise, it's probably just a little bit confused. So awesome night at the park. Weather held up. Just unfortunate the Riverhawks couldn't quite come away with the victory. That would be the only downside of our evening at Remax.
Just quickly, Kyle asked any protein on those nachos?
No, Josh elected not to.
Just cheese, eh?
It was you can kind of pick your toppings. We went tomatoes, green onions, sour cream, some salsa in there. I guess the tomato salsa kind of in lockstep with each other. And then of course the cheese. I think the only option we did not go for were black olives, and that was at Josh's discretion. And Mackenzie and I were both in agreement. Mm-hmm. And then you can add beef or chicken, I believe, which Josh also did not. We kind of wanted in its most pure form.
No, I mean,
only beef as an add-on option.
Oh, only okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Like that would be my go-to. But if given the option, Duke, I go both. Double the protein. Just get crazy.
Double protein.
Absolutely. A couple texts rolling in here. Trev's got a fantasy football question, which we will get to. Matt says, dead air intro. Is Low Tide on Fantasy Frenzy now? I mean, I don't get that reference. To me, Low Tide, there's no such thing as dead air. But I don't know what happened there. We just came in cold.
Well, I think I probably just double-clicked on a button over on the screen, which then caused it to fade out. And we were kind of actually in the middle of a conversation off mic while doing it. And I'm like, oh, crap, Connor, we got to start the show. There's no music playing. So it's on me 100%. My B.
So that was just my lead into what we were discussing, because in case you missed it, and I'm sure you were listening to Kevin Carrius this morning, but Frank Saravalli had a couple tweets out there earlier today just saying, if the Oilers elect to continue down the path with Mike Babcock, sources say the NHLPA is in receipt of significant additional claims of their own investigation with players who were not publicly reported in 2023. Furthermore, sources indicate that asking players to see photos is not what ultimately resulted in Babcock's resignation. It was the subsequent unknown allegation reported below that cost, he's talking below about his previous tweet, that cost Babcock his job. I don't know what this is going to be if this becomes revealed towards us. It's something. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, if you're Mike Babcock, this is probably, the way it went was, Mike, this is what's going to all come out if you don't resign. And he probably said, you know what? All right, I'll resign. By having any interest in returning to the NHL, you have to know that this stuff's going to be brought back up. Like, something happened. Multiple things happened that obviously led to his resignation. It kind of feels like what happened, Duke, is the PA or the NHL said, if you resign, we'll stop.
Yeah, we'll save you the, frankly, embarrassment and public knowledge of what actually is the full detail of your exploits, right? You kind of say, go away quietly, figure out a settlement or whatever the case with Columbus, which is believed to be the case, that he was paid out in some capacity, almost certainly not the entirety of the contract or anything, but you have that, and then he just goes away quietly. And you kind of wonder why we haven't heard a lick about his name since this happened. There's been a lot of jobs available in the NHL on the head coaching front since his resignation from Columbus. Again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Connor. In a legitimate capacity, other than just throwing names out there for the hell of it by Joe, Rick, or Harry on Twitter, Mike Babcock's name has not been in discussion for any of those jobs.
No, because to me, it had been kind of thought that either he's done by his choosing, or either that he is being told by the league, you're done. Like, and unless you want this to come out. And now I would assume it's going to leak out. If if the Oilers are pursuing him and he wants to get back into it, then it's going to get out somehow. There's too many insiders in the NHL that will let it out. And I'm sure players know. Obviously, they went through it. They've experienced it. Like, is Adam Fantilli getting a call right now? Hey, buddy, good summer. Got to come to New York. We need you to come to New York and discuss exactly what happened when you were 18 years old or whatever. Like, it's going to come out. Kyle says it's either going to be, oh, it's not that bad, or holy bleep, what is the team doing looking at hiring this guy? Yeah, probably. It's probably going to go one of those ways. Darren says, hey, fellas, so with all this Babcock crap, is Bruce Cassidy completely off the table? Vegas may release him after the Stanley Cup, or are we stuck now? What are your thoughts? To me, I would be in the camp, I think, with Kevin Karius, where I would wait and see. I don't necessarily think there's a rush, and it's going to be held up a little bit for Babcock with whatever happens with this investigation from the PA. I will say we had people on our Facebook page kind of asking, like, well, what happened to, why aren't all these other hard coaches being investigated? Well, they didn't have an NHLPA investigation against them in 2023. So that's why. It's not just a witch hunt against Babcock. Like, there's reasoning for this. There's precedent. Something happened. So for me, like, that's going to take some time. I would have no issue waiting to see what happens out in Vegas with Bruce Cassidy. And if the Golden Knights win or lose and make their decision, whatever it might be, they're allowed to do that. You go from there. But for me, Duke, I don't know about you. No rush to make this hire. Give me 2-3 weeks, whatever it takes. You get the right guy. Don't rush it.
Well, and it does seem that, in the case of Babcock, they're not going to be able to hire him anytime soon with this investigation moving forward, to the best of our knowledge, thanks to a lot of the insiders with a little insider information. And just to the point you made about, other hard-nosed coaches not facing this similar type. Listen, there's lots of hard-nosed coaches. That doesn't mean that they employ this level of tactics to try and get their point across, to prove their power dynamic, whatever the case. And the best example that comes to mind is, like, is Bill Peters coaching in the NHL?
Yeah.
We heard what came out about what he said to Akeem Alou.
Didn't he kick him too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the verbal abuse. There was some physical, the racist tones. And then you hear, like, it was no shortage of other people saying, hey, this guy is a D-bag. He's not a good guy. Guess what? He's not coaching in the NHL. Will never will again. And I'm not saying that Babcock went to those lengths of, say, racist comments or even physically interacting with players, but it just goes to show that there are lines, and if you cross them, you can't do so with impunity. It just goes to show it really does only take, like, one or even a couple people to speak up about something. How did this all start? The Columbus thing. One of the players texted, I can't remember if it was Ryan Whitney or Paul Bissonnette. They talk about it on Spit and Chicklets, the most popular hockey podcast in the world. And this investigation that the NHLPA or the league executed at the request of the PA moved forward from there. So there is precedent that when people cross lines and it becomes public knowledge and we're made aware of it, that they're done. They don't work anymore.
Ontario Moses, I just went to listen to Frank on his show for a bit. It's bad, guys. It's way more than the phones. Frank saying the Oilers should have talked to the PA and the NHL way before announcing this. Probably. Yeah. I mean, hey, maybe they should have spoke to Vegas before anything with Cassidy, right? That leaked out, I think, eventually by his agent. I don't think they were necessarily doing anything too crazy by trying to reach out and see what was out there. But yeah, this one definitely doesn't look great. Kenneth said CBJ paid Babcock outright. They didn't want to. If it was Fireball, they would have got out of that. Looks like a lot of people were wrong about this photo thing, disregarding Jenner and Goudreau's statements. All of it makes a lot of sense. Well, we'll wait and see, Kenneth. Like, as Frank Cervalli said, it's more than just that. That was not the reason that his resignation happened.
And if you think that he resigned purely of his own choosing, you're naive. Like, you
do you want to go with a little class, or do you want to get fired?
You think that all this came up because Babcock, and then he just he's like, this is a witch hunt. I quit. Screw all you guys. Come on. Grow a brain.
Grow a brain.
Well, if that's what you think, you clearly don't have one.
I mean, and I'll just say to Kenneth, like, just let's wait and see what happens here. It's I think it's going to leak out if whatever it was, if the Oilers and Babcock keep pursuing it, It's going to come out here, and it probably will eventually. And then we'll choose whether we believe or don't believe those reports when they come out. Old guy from Kootenai says Todd Nelson or Torts. Todd Nelson is the interesting one.
Back in Edmonton?
Like, he just, for whatever reason, like, great coach, wins, seem to be very well liked. Just doesn't seem to happen. Torts busy. And I heard Schlemko say it. I thought I also read that he said he was done after this year. I don't know where I saw it. It was somewhere on social media, so you never know.
We had someone text that in too. And if this happened in the last day, I guess I missed it. But apart from, him saying, like, we know the contract is only to the end of the year. We know that. And then him saying over and over, I'm just focused on this run, this team as it currently exists, my future. But if that actually was said in a press conference or as a quote to a reporter or something, please, if someone knows of it, send it in, because I did not see this, and it would be curious to know its source. Because if that's the case, we kind of touched on that yesterday. And Connor saying, like, I can't see Tortorella going to coach somewhere else. I could see him running it back with Vegas again, kind of regardless of outcome, or if they were to win. And I guess maybe even if they don't win, according to this quote, he's retiring regardless. I don't know.
That's what I swear I read it. And when Schlemko said it and got a little bit of pushback, I thought, oh, okay, maybe we both saw a tweet that wasn't necessarily accurate. 1-833-401-1440. It's Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky. Go check them out. Only available in Leduc. Dunocracy is head coach, Schmed coach. All I want is the Oilers to bring back Dustin Schwartz. That seems like longer ago than it was. It was just like a year and a bit ago when that was a story. Good times. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll get to more of your texts. 1-833-401-1440. Trev had a fantasy football question. We can dive into that as well. It's Fantasy Frenzy here on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. Brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11:22. Welcome back. It's Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com, only available in Leduc. Go check them out. Tell them we sent you. Say hi to Trent and company. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Mall. This segment brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth EE football coverage online. elksnation.ca. Of course, Eddie and Declan will have the new episode coming out later on this week. The Elks 1-0, then the bye week. I don't love it, but since you had a couple buys in the CFL, it's not quite as bad. Camp is long. You play your first game, you get the win. A couple days off to relax. We had Coach Killam on with Jason yesterday. He said he's just doing normal things, paying the property tax. Oh, and hits hard. It's not ideal, but I guess that's part of being in a civilization. Hey, Duke.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, is what it is. I was at the park today, as I mentioned, with the little guy on the swings, and a City of Edmonton truck rolled up that empties the garbages, and
The extend arm things?
no, like a parked garbage, little can. And this woman comes and she pulls the garbage bag out of the garbage and lays it on the ground, and then pulls out a little X-Acto knife and stabs the bottom of the bag, and all the liquid pours out.
Just on the street?
Into the grass, yeah.
Ugh.
It was
Gross.
disgusting. It was like, is that rainwater, or people just throwing drinks in there? Full drinks. When I throw a drink that's full, I like to pour it out first.
I often try to do this. And self-admittedly, do I put as much thought into that if I'm in public somewhere? No, because I'm just walking past the garbage, like here in the mall, for example. But I'm also not usually throwing away something that still has liquid left in it. Now, the counter to that is if you have like a fountain drink from a fast food place, there's usually ice left over.
Mm-hmm.
You're obviously not drinking the ice unless you pull out the cubes and chew them, I guess, to each their own. That will melt, and then you've got liquid in the bottom too. I'm not dumping my ice cubes out before I throw a cup away very regularly, but I do at home. Not gonna, like, if I pick up something on my way home from work and I finish my Coke, McDonald's Coke, $1 drink days.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, all right, I'm done with this. I'll dump the ice out into my sink and then put the cup in my garbage can underneath the sink.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
To be a mess.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But if it's a city park garbage, you don't care.
I guess not. I call me inconsiderate. I have to wear it because different standards at home versus away.
Well, I'm not going to judge you on this one. Text line fired up today. Just a question from Trev. Hey, guys, what NFL fantasy stud from last season do you see taking a dip in production this upcoming year? Well, MTR, cover your ears. I think Christian McCaffrey could take a dip. I believe in PPR leagues, he was the highest scoring player with 416 points. Puka Nacua, the next closest, at 375. Jonathan Taylor really capitalized on touchdowns. He had 18 rushing touchdowns, Dukes. So maybe he could see a drop off. I might have Drake May in there as well.
I stole my answer.
Oh, sorry. I was taking everybody. I'll stop right there. Do you have any other ones that you would look at?
Nope. The only one I had. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe Devon Achane?
Yeah, Achane is a guy we talk about a lot because he's so dynamic, and I think he is among the premier skill type backs in the entire NFL, and he's so good in the passing game as well. But look at Miami. How can you realistically think anybody's going to have success with that position of, or like group of players they have assembled on offense? And I'm not trying to but it's the NFL, right? Like, it's all about compared to your peers. And based on what we know from previous performances, their group of players are not as good as I think every other group of players in the league, particularly on offense. You trade away your two best receivers are gone. You re-sign your running back. You bring in a quarterback who has never started full-time for a full season in the league. Had success in a pretty, I don't know, cushy system in Green Bay. We know he was not very good in Tennessee. So it just kind of all sums up to me as be like, ooh, that's dicey. I still have a lot of faith in him because that's how good he is. But if you expect him to put the same type of numbers he has in years past, I would maybe pull back the reins a little bit.
Now, I guess you could say that the head coach of the Dolphins, Hafley, I believe,
Jeff Hafley
was the was he the OC with the Patriots?
So he was with the Packers.
Sorry, Packers. That's what I meant to say.
Well, I thought he was the DC.
Was he the DC? You're right. He was the DC. Okay, well, that gives me less confidence in his offensive system then. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a little nervous for it.
And it's like, hey, HN owner and Dynasty love the guy.
I would be keeping him though.
You can't move on from a guy like that because right now you'd be selling low, most likely. The right offer came along, I suppose I could be enticed, but running backs like that especially are going to get so many touches, they are harder and harder to come by now. A lot of teams spreading the wealth around.
Dean says Duke is the aficionado on ice, but
I don't know. Connor's kind of the ice man around here.
Does Duke own an ice machine?
I don't own an ice machine. I'm filling my ice cube trays every night and sticking them in my freezer. Con man, he goes out. He's like, what am I going to treat myself to? I don't splurge very often. I've had to, living my best life, the wife, the kid, the house. He's like, I need something that's just for me. And he goes and gets a Pebble ice maker.
Not 1 second of regret since.
To his credit, he's in here every day with his cup of whatever's in it on any given day. Sometimes it's an energy drink. Sometimes it's
Don't ask me what's in my cup.
Water. I don't know, but there's always pebbled ice in there, fresh. And even the other day, he's like, "Yeah, I just made a fresh batch.
Good batch, not sticky in the big." I make a big bag full, and then sometimes I bring it in. Sometimes I'll share with Tater if he needs.
Do you put it like in a big Ziploc and then just like put it in your freezer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then I take it out after about an hour, and then I break it up just so it doesn't get all stuck
you
together.
Want the pebbles to remain pebbly.
You get it. Maybe you are the Iceman. Maybe you also know.
I'm the Iceman.
If you are a fan of cold beverages, I always recommend a Pebble ice machine. It's changed my life. Would never regret it for a second. I might take it on vacation with me too. For the vacation.
Taking it with you?
It's not that big. That's the great thing about it.
Babe, we don't have room in the car. We have to make room for the ice maker.
I'll just sit on my lap if we have to.
While you're driving.
Yeah. Making ice.
You got it plugged in the second row. Like it's on the second row seating beside Benny's car seat. You bring a little mini generator or power converter.
Yeah.
It's just running full tilt between here and Invermere or wherever you go to.
Yeah, don't dox me. But that region. Kyle, I did not get it off Amazon. I actually bought it. I ordered it online from Walmart, but they brought it in from a separate party. So it took a few days to get in. Quick cleaning. Yeah, it's really good. Back to the text line here, 1-833-401-1440. Dr. TSA says, boys, hopefully the NHL PA blocks this hiring. Then the next move by the Oilers should be to fire Bowman. Dr. TSA. I mean, there would be some questions, I would think, Duke, if you publicly tried to hire two coaches and both fell through, and one of them being blocked by the Players Association. That's not a good look. Do you think that any Bowman got a chance to redeem himself, right? We know what happened in Chicago. How you feel about that, we don't have to get into, but he got a shot at redemption. Do you think there's a little of that plays into Babcock, or do you think it's all business? I do think he's the best coach.
From the Oilers' perspective?
Well, and from Stan Bowman. Because I don't know if there was a lot of teams lining up to bring him in after what happened. He had to get reinstated. He got an opportunity here in Edmonton to get back at it.
Yeah, it's different in the sense if you're comparing it to the other, like Joel Quenneville, who was also, on hold by the league and wasn't around for a couple of years and then gets reinstated. There would have been, I think, a list of teams interested in bringing in Joel Quenneville. Would there have been the same list of teams interested in Stan Bowman? Yeah, I think teams would have been poking around. I mean, we know he did some work in another organization. Did he not? Obviously not as a GM or anything, but I might be mixing up names, so forgive me.
Let me confirm.
Yeah, that's a great question, Connor. If Bowman looks at it and says, hey, I got another chance, I should offer someone else, like, almost a pay it forward type mantra. He might have that approach, but then my pushback would once again be like, this isn't a second chance for Mike Babcock.
Mm-hmm.
It's at least a third.
And that's why I said redemption.
Right.
Not a second or third chance.
Not second or third, just a redemption arc, which, as we talked about previously, it's human nature to root for those circumstance pending. And this circumstance, as we well know based on our text line, there doesn't seem to be a ton of people on board for this particular redemption arc. So it's an interesting question. I obviously have no clue. I'm not chopping it up with Bowman at the Riverhawks game on a Tuesday night to pick his brain about it. But I to be honest, Connor, my opinion on it is that it's a desperation move. It's like he knows his seat is hot. A few of the moves he has made have not worked. In fact, they've been, in particular, the goaltending swap was really bad. Kind of blew up in their face. He's looking at it like, this is kind of my last kick of the can. Like, if this doesn't work or I'm not pulling the right strings over the course of the season, the team doesn't have success, regular season, playoffs, Stanley Cup aspirations, it's like I'm probably going to be out of a job again. This is like, I have to explore every option, which I think most GMs should do, regardless of how hot their seat is. But I keep begging the question of, you land on Mike Babcock, and do you genuinely think he is that much better than other available candidates to justify the PR nightmare that this has already caused, the potential fallout with your own team, right? Like, if he gets the job and it doesn't work out or more things come to light, we know right now it's on hold because of an investigation. I just have a hard time seeing that he would be that much head and shoulders above other available candidates.
And we do know,
even if you have a narrow field of wanting to check off a certain type of number of boxes about what that coach has in their resume, I still look at it and say, really? He's that much better that it's worth this. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
And it's important to know that per reports, the team signed off on this. Like, the players, the leadership group is okay with this. So that would probably further the decision.
It would certainly give him more confidence in making the move.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
His Wikipedia page has already been updated. Bowman was met with extreme backlash from fans in June of 2026 when it was announced he was considering hiring Mike Babcock.
Oh, boy.
He was also named after the Stanley Cup. Did you know that?
Stanley Bowman?
Yeah.
I did not.
It was his father.
Who's that again?
You might have heard of him, Scotty.
Oh, right. Now I remember.
Won his first Stanley Cup as a coach a month before the birth and named him Stan. Probably Stanley. And after Glenn Hall, his middle name. Random findings on Wikipedia. Not sure if it's true. Fizzler says, hey guys, I used to work for the city of Edmonton. I can confirm the garbage cans after a rain fill up with a stinky concoction of dog you know what and rainwater. We call it dog bloop juice. And yeah, you poke the bag. Otherwise, you can't lift it, and hopefully it didn't spray on the street. They let it go in the grass instead. But boy, does it reek. Yeah, it was windy, so we couldn't smell it. But we were only like 5 feet away, Fizzler. It's a thing, apparently.
Ugh.
Yeah. When my kids were young, this comes in from Greater Man Jay. About 20 years ago, we bought him a Snoopy snowmaker. They used it once, and because my childhood remembering the snowmaker, I wore that thing out. Root beer snow cones were my favorite. Oh, we had one of those. I think it might have been Snoopy. It might have been something else. You like pushed down on it, and yeah. We never made with root beer ones, though. Trailer Park Ryan, I think just in regards to studs that could fall off, Buka and JSN, it's possible. They both had outstanding years. I mean, and a drop-off could still be good. Matt Leduc says, I don't think Bowman has much to do with this. From Cassidy to Babcock, it reeks of ownership meddling.
And that's something I'm not sure we'll ever get any real clarity on. You could speculate and guess.
Yeah, unlike what the reports are from Babcock and, what the PA is going to investigate, that I think will come out. This, I'm not quite sure. We'll get the same results, and maybe down the road if anyone wants to be totally out there and admit it. I don't know. And then Mail kind of falls out the same thing. Not convinced Bowman has anything to say about the coaching decision. I think it comes from the higher up. We'll have to see. AZ, I'm surprised the Oilers didn't go after Joe Quenneville. Well, the timing wouldn't have made a lot of sense, right? Because after the Oilers were in the midst of back-to-back cups. I guess they could have done it prior to that, mid-season, when they fired Jay Woodcroft, but I don't know. Wyshynski on Mayor Show is saying he's hearing and thinks current Oilers players have requested further looking into Bab's time on the Blue Jackets. It keeps getting crazier. Well, we had Mike Commodore on the show yesterday with Jason Greger, and he's pretty upfront about it. His issues with Mike Babcock in the past. Again, he says good coach, like great tactician, but I don't want to butcher the quote, but it was paraphrasing. McDavid, Drysdale, those guys will have no issue with Babcock. Mm-hmm. It'll be the fourth liners, third liners, rookies. And then he went on to say, like, people that work in the rink, like that sort of thing. So good on, hey, if Oilers players, and maybe it's not the leadership group, but other players on the team saying, hey, let's dig a little deeper here. Let's find out. I'm intrigued by it. And, we also heard that about his time at Saskatchewan, Duke, that there was issues with not the players, but off the ice. Mm-hmm. Not the nicest guy too.
Well, yeah, like you said, that's kind of common, is that just people that work in the rink, he treats them poorly, which, it's a long-standing sentiment. And I think it does ring true in more cases than not. Like, you look at how people treat people, and not their peers, not their superiors, but people that either are below them, and below them is a kind of catch-all phrase here, but mm-hmm. The janitors around a building, wait staff, right? How do people treat individuals like that, where it doesn't cost you anything to be a decent human, to be nice? And and that kind of is usually a pretty good way to measure someone, is how they interact in those type of environments. And via firsthand accounts by Mike Commodore on the Gregor Show yesterday, that is a pretty standout thing about Mike Babcock's character, is that he does not treat people very well that are quote unquote below him in standing.
You haven't watched the newest season of Shoresy now.
I have not.
But they assemble a team. And one of the things Shoresy, this is a fictional TV show about a hockey player, talks about is winning culture. And how
you got to hate to lose.
You treat everyone with respect, and you have to know everyone by name. Doesn't matter if they're driving the Zamboni or working the concession. And that's one of the things. And he like has that relationship with them. This isn't real life, I know. But
well, life is just imitating art, Connor.
That was one of those things I was like, that kind of just seems obvious when I watched the show. And then you hear that, no, it's not. Some coaches, apparently, one specifically, maybe isn't always like that. So it's interesting. Good show. Go watch it. Our good friend Terry Ryan, of course, one of the stars of the program. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, more text. We'll let you know what's coming up on the Lowdown and the Jason Greger Show. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly. Guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
It doesn't start on game day. It starts before kickoff, before the first snap. It starts with you locking in your season seats. This is Edmonton Elks football. The only way to experience it is being there for every hit, catch, and touchdown. The Elks home opener kicks off June 20th against Montreal. Your season seats are your way in. Get yours now at goelks.com/season seats. Edmonton Elks, our city, our year.
From the first pitch to the final out. Catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Tired of the rough ride? Alberta used to be a leader in highway planning and construction, but years of neglect and cuts to maintenance are showing. You can see it, and your vehicle is feeling it. Infrastructure can last for years with a little TLC, but when repairs are deferred, minor issues become major reconstruction. We need action and a reliable capital plan. Contact your MLA and demand stable infrastructure funding. Find out how at fixourroads.com.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
First pitches, kickoffs, tip-offs. When the game is on, you call the shots. Whether it's a parlay after working all day or a straight bet and straight to bed, Betway has what it takes for you to bet the Edmonton way. So when it's your turn to play the Edmonton way with Betway. Play responsibly. Alberta only. 18 plus.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Every coach needs a game plan. Plan your fantasy frenzy with Halley and Douglas right here on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
It's 11:44. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick. Thank you for joining the show. 1-833-401-1440 is the text line. The show brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Did you know, Duke, that Sports 1440 is proud to sponsor the 67th annual Sourdough Raft Race? Did you know that?
I did know that. Very proud.
Sunday, August 9th at Terwilliger Park. You can set sail down the North Saskatchewan on a raft of whatever you choose. A paddleboard, a canoe, build your own. Whatever will stay afloat. Teams competing for the Admiral's Choice, the most innovative first-time entry, also Titanic Award. We still don't know what that is. But the
gotta
cash,
show up to find out.
The cash goes to a charity of your choice. And you know what? Honestly, if you're just looking for a good way to spend a day, you can't beat this. And maybe you're just hungry. Entry fee is just $10. You get a pancake breakfast, a t-shirt, a souvenir glass, and then there's also a barbecue for the participants afterwards. So like if you want a paddleboard and you just want to go get 2 meals, and maybe, just maybe, you win an award and then you donate that to the charity of your choice, not a bad way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Nay, Sunday, well, the breakfast is at 9 a.m. The race is at 12:15. So you could eat pancakes for 3 hours and then go do it. Sports1440.com for all your information. Coming up next, we got the Lowdown with Lowtide. We'll be joined by Kevin McCurdy. Talk some Oilers, some Mike Babcock as well. Then on the Jason Greger Show from 2 till 6. We're going to go out to Columbus. Aaron Fortsline will join us. He almost coached there, so we'll get the recap on what happened with his time in Columbus. Jason Strudwick will join us as well. Landon Ferraro, who usually joins us on Thursdays, is going to hop on today because Mike Rupp is traveling. So they swap days. Landon actually played under Coach Babcock for 2 years, a handful of games when he was breaking into the league. So we'll see what kind of insight he can provide. Of course, Spec, Cam Tate, 5 questions, and more. So make sure you keep it locked here on Sports 1440. Then following the Gregor Show on our AM feed, Blue Jays baseball taking on the Phillies once again. They'll be off tomorrow in a weekend series with the New York Yankees. So should be a fun weekend for the Blue Jays. And of course, we'll have it for you here on Sports 1440, Saturday at 1, Sunday at 11:30. I love that drive out to Blackhawk listening to Blue Jays baseball, Duke. Jays baseball on the radio. We talked about it before. It's the best.
I really enjoy it. In fact, I was listening to it on our drive down to the ballpark yesterday. Just caught the start because we got there early to make sure we could try and get a few things situated. And so we caught the end of the Gregor Show. And then, the first inning, I guess, of the Jays.
You drove Mac down there?
Yes.
You had to have 1440 on to show company guy.
Well, yeah, I need to rep the brand, of course.
Text line. Let's get back into it. Do you guys think that McDavid only having 2 years is hurting the Oilers' chances with coaches? What coach wants to sign with a team when they don't even know if the best player is staying? The coach theoretically would have a lot of pressure for success to keep the best player in the league in Edmonton, or else the coach might be out of a job as well. That could play into it, but you also have the chance to coach Connor McDavid for 2 years.
Yeah, I actually come at it from this other side where I say, like, a coach says, I could be the guy that, like, I have the vision for this team that I can, quote unquote, fix them, get them over this hump, or at least get them back to playing a brand of hockey that is more conducive to success, that is convincing enough to Connor McDavid to keep him in Edmonton, right? And keep in mind, like, when you become or ascend to the level of being a head coach at the NHL, which is the highest level, like, you have a certain level of confidence, ego, like all these things that roll into it where you believe in yourself and you want to be the guy that does turn things around for a team, for an organization, for a franchise. And if you don't, you're maybe not suited to be a head coach. Like, you really have to have that borderline arrogance at times about your own abilities, while still understanding that you don't know everything and you lean on your assistants and your video coaches and your support staff. It's not black and white. It's not absolute. But to say that a coach would look at it and say, I don't want to go there because McDavid's leaving after the season. Well, if he's leaving after the first season, that probably means you didn't do a very good job.
Yeah.
If you're the coach. So I don't know if that is really a factor. If anything, you'd be chomping it because I have the best player in the world at just $12.5 million. My GM should be able to put a really good roster around this. And I should be the guy to take those ingredients, turning into a winning recipe.
I would think so. I mean, I think the coach that would come in here has to have that mentality. And, like, not just the best player in the world at $12 million. You got Leon Draisaitl. You got Evan Bouchard. You got a lot of pieces. The team that's been to 2 of the last 3 Stanley Cup finals, I think you got to have a high level of confidence that you can get them back to that level and be the one to turn things around. Text lines 1-833-401-1440. We just got this one coming in from Bruce in the Park. Good morning, guys. Some rumors out there of Kosa and Kirby Dach in Edmonton. What would the cost be for both of those players? Well, yeah, Kirby Dach, maybe hasn't gone the way he would have hoped, being a former 3rd overall pick. I don't know, Duke, what you think the cost would be for he. I want to go look at his contract. Sebastian Kosa is another one. Like, I've heard the name, and I get Oilers fans. There's the correlation with the Oil Kings, and he's a former 1st-round pick. Been quite good with the Grand Rapids Griffins in the AHL the last couple of years here, over a 900 save percentage, but hasn't cracked the NHL roster yet. The Red Wings, and going into next season, is going to grab their roster here. Yeah, John Gibson under contract. Cam Talbot at age 38 is a free agent. So, Duke, you've got 2 older goalies. Any chance you just might want to hang on to Kosa?
To be honest, no. Because if for no other reason that they have another goaltending prospect who, by reports in the eyes of the organization, has passed Kosa. He's going to be playing his first year of pro this coming season, coming out of college, is Trey Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that at this point, I don't know if it's they haven't liked Kosa's progress in his development enough, and they see Augustine as the more viable successor to Gibson. So do you look and say, yeah, maybe Kosa's ready to be the backup? Because I don't think they're going to put Augustine in, assume him to be the backup goaltender behind Gibson in year 1 of pro hockey. I think that would be silly. So, but you bring back a guy like Talbot on a cheap deal, or, there's usually a decent pool of veteran goaltenders that you sign for league minimum or $1 million or even, $2 million to give your starter relief at times. So as a result, if you're not willing to do that for Kosa because you don't think he's ready to shoulder that type of a load, then yeah, you try and recoup some assets. I don't see him being in Detroit at the start of next season. What will the cost of acquisition be? That's a really good question. He's a former first rounder, ton of pedigree, success in the WHL. His pro career in the minors and stuff has been a little bit tumultuous. Like, he's had good runs, he's had a little bit more struggle, and as a result, his numbers come out looking pretty average for the most part. If my memory serves correct, don't have them in front of me.
Talking in Kosa?
Yeah.
915 save percentage last year, 911 the year before that. 26-8-4 record this past season with a 2.33 goals against average.
So clearly on the upswing, like gotten better.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that experience can do that for any player, any prospect. I just, unless he's the backup in Detroit next season, I don't see him being ready to like continue playing in Grand Rapids. I think in his eyes, he's graduated from that, and maybe the team doesn't agree, and they want to have Trey Augustine now as the number one guy with the Griffins.
And that would make sense. He's an RFA this year, so maybe he's just kind of like, I'm restricted, but trade my rights somewhere else. I want to figure this thing out. You'll have Gibson, like you said, probably with the vet. This team, though, for the Red Wings, in all likelihood, Dylan Larkin, you're moving on from at some point. His 3-team trade list, not the most beneficial thing, I would say, for this team. But it's an interesting one. Kirby Dach, on the other hand, like, I get the name value. You still look at him as a guy with good size.
You always look at those top picks and say, like, well, maybe. Like, maybe here's where he can unlock it. But, like, you don't have to go back very far. Like, look at Dylan Strome, right? Really did not have a ton of success in Arizona, and there's probably several factors contributing to that around the team itself. Lands in Chicago, struggles for a bit, finds his footing, and then they essentially are like, no, you're actually too good. We're trying to totally bottom out. They don't tender him. He leaves as an RFA and becomes a UFA, ends up in Washington, and has really found a home there. And he's like top line center. He's the main guy for Ovechkin the past couple seasons. That's a former 3rd overall pick that took, like, not everybody's Macklin Celebrini or Matthew Schaefer that lands in at 18 years old and lights the world on fire. Those are the exceptions. So there's reason for optimism with a guy like Dach, but keep in mind he's already 7 seasons in. That's crazy.
He's 25 years old, yeah.
Like, and he's played 64 games and 70 games. Those are the closest to full seasons he's had. 58, 57, just 37 this past season. And that's a combination of injuries and, like, he's just not a guy they're putting in the lineup every night. So if you're looking at him as a UFA, I cannot see the price being very high. Made 3.362 this past season. If he fetches that again, I'd be surprised.
He would be high on my list. I like Colton. I like what he brought last year. If he can stretch that out to the majority of the season.
What are you getting? What does he do? He's not your second line center. He's not even your third line center, I don't think. He's like a 4th line player. Hate to break it. The Oilers already have quite a few 4th line players.
Yeah. As for Kosa, hey, I would be intrigued, but at the same time, as we've said multiple times, like, if that's your plan for the season when you need to be very good because Connor McDavid could be traded the following year if you don't have success, I don't love that plan. I don't mind bringing him in, but need 1A. Maybe that's Tristan Jarry. Why not offer sheet Kosa? Maybe they will.
He might not be eligible.
Maybe they won't. I think Detroit would be willing to part ways for the reasoning you had. I could see it. Well, we better wrap this thing up. Thank you guys for joining us on the show today. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Low Tide coming up next, followed by Gregor. Then if you're streaming, you got Fox Sports Radio. If you're listening on the AM dial, Blue Jays baseball as they take on the Phillies once again. Check the podcast if you missed anything, or head over to YouTube Sports 1440 AM. Let's get to a Sports 1440 update with Brandon Douglas, brought to you by brought to you by Cattail Crossing, the early bird deal every Saturday and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 7:30, $50, 9 holes with a cart and a caddy shack snack voucher. Look now at cattailcrossing.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals going tonight from Madison Square Garden. The Knicks, they 2-1 series lead over the Spurs in the best of 7. Tip-off scheduled for 6:30 in New York. From the Oilers coaching saga, the NHL moving ahead with its investigation of former head coach in the league, Mike Babcock, following a request from the Players Association. This according to TSN's Pierre LeBrun. The investigation stems from Babcock's allegations of invading players' privacy during his time with the Blue Jackets in 2023. In the majors today, full slate of games, including the Blue Jays rubber match against the Phillies from downtown Toronto. Max Scherzer expected to return from the injured list and start for the Bluebirds. First pitch coming just after 5 o'clock. Catch that game right here on Sports 1440, joined in progress at the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, several of the games already underway. Rays up on the Red Sox 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Bottom 3, Yankees lead the Guardians 3-1, and still to come today, Orioles hosting the Mariners, and the Athletics and Brewers wrap up their set in Las Vegas. The Edmonton Riverhawks already underway with their game today with an 11:05 first pitch for their annual School Spirits contest, down at Remax Field. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440.